My name is Tony Davalos, and this is my story. Growing up, I dealt with a lot of rejection. My own dad, our relationship started off pretty healthy at first. Over time, I noticed that he grew distant. But at the same time, my parents' marriage also started falling apart. I'm starting to see a lot of arguments take place at home, a lot of fights, lots of yelling. Facing rejection from everywhere really took a toll on me just emotionally. During the time that we were going to church, oddly enough, I experienced bullying at church too, which was kind of foul, right? And eventually I was like, I don't want to do church. I'm good. I don't want to go back. Eventually my own parents stopped attending. At one point we had a family member that introduced witchcraft and the occult to the family. I remember growing up and seeing shadows everywhere, right? I would see movement, or I would just out of nowhere feel a presence. I got used to seeing my mom be possessed different times. I would sometimes be talking to her. Sometimes I'd be talking to something else. We had a lot of occult things in the home, crystals, pyramids, Native American artifacts. It was around age 10 or 11 that I first was introduced to pornography. It was through magazines and eventually through websites. As a kid, I experimented with other boys in the neighborhood, and that eventually led to just more than 20 years of addiction. Really was ruining my life for a long time. I felt very alone, very reserved, and no self-esteem. Didn't feel like I had anybody. I remember in high school was when I started realizing that attractions were different. I started becoming really attracted to guys. Back then, it was really taboo. You don't tell people, you don't talk about it, right? You kind of just stay in the closet. I, at some point, kind of just accepted that I'm probably gonna go to hell. I was also talking to men online. Eventually, I was talking to one man who was a married man. I didn't know. And we talked for a while. Eventually, I found out that he was married because he got caught. I know I wasn't the only person he was talking to, but that really damaged how I perceived myself, how I perceived people and relationships, and specifically men, carrying all this baggage from just life and where my family's at. I get invited by a friend to a ministry event, and it was a night where I was surrounded at one point by just a bunch of guys that love Jesus, and they just started ministering to me, right? They started releasing prophetic words. They started telling me about my life when I've never met any of these people. I was believing that God loved me when I performed well. So I developed a very lukewarm lifestyle in front of people. Be like, yep, I read my word, do all the things, pray for people, let's see people healed, let's prophesy over people. I was hiding the porn addiction, my attraction towards men, all these things, and was just trying to cover it up with ministry. Eventually, I leave ministry out of hurt. I made decisions that ended up hurting me, hurt other people. Luckily, I had a friend who had a church home. Eventually, I joined their ministry school. Again, there's just sins that I didn't want to give up. I didn't want to confront. Eventually, I graduate the school and I end up on pastoral staff with the church, eventually helping lead the ministry school while still in sin. There's a church split, and to see that happen just completely turned me off to the church. And I was like, okay, I think I'm done. I ended up getting a job with a company that I'm currently with. Eventually that job led to me being able to travel for the company. And this is when I start drinking and I start partying. I got around people that I enjoyed being with. Everything changed in 2021. We had already been experiencing the pandemic, and it was in 2021 where my family experienced loss. My sister passed. And I never blamed God, but I wasn't looking to God for comfort. I continued traveling for work, and I ended up in Kansas on one of those trips. And this is where I meet Brandon and Jasmine. I was not a very likable person at this point in life. Once my work trip was over, I told them, I was like, hey, if there's ever a spot out here, like, I'll gladly move. They stepped in during a time when I was still grieving, and I think it was the connection that was necessary. I moved my whole life to Kansas. I actually ended up living with Brandon and Jasmine for about a month. Brandon gets saved, and then Jasmine gets saved. I think God's cornering me in Kansas because I don't know nobody else. I ain't got money to move back or move anywhere else. Oddly enough, when I first moved out here, I visited the church. I was like, I'm good. I'm not gonna do this. I'm just gonna go do what I wanna do. I'm heavily drinking, like I'm chugging bottles. I started getting high, just trying to numb everything I was feeling, full of anxiety. I was the most depressed I've ever been in my life. I started getting in trouble at work. I contemplated taking my life if there wasn't a change. Brandon and Jasmine kept bothering me. Hey, you should come to church. You should come to church. You should come. And eventually I went. I rededicated my life to the Lord. It was a wrestle of back and forth, where it's like, I want to serve God. I also want to keep living the way that I'm living. I'm still dealing with a porn issue. I'm still dealing with like same-sex attractions. Like, after trying and trying and trying, all I've ever known is figure it out. And all that, it convicted me a lot. And it was during an altar call, I refused to move. And an apostle says, I know when the Holy Spirit is talking to me and there's one more person that needs to come forward. Nope. Chose pride. Service ends, driving home. I started feeling like I was about to die. I lied. I just lied to God. I just lied to my pastor. And so I make a phone call, confess that I lied to my pastor, and I get told, hey, you didn't just lie to me, you lied to God. He said, tonight, when there's an altar call, you better respond. I responded, and it was at that moment that I felt the mercy of God really step in. I felt like I genuinely surrendered my life for the first time. And that's when everything genuinely changed. Any deep-rooted anxiety that I had, the deep-rooted depression, gone. Any addiction, all the things that I was dealing with, gone. For the first time, I started feeling genuinely free. God's changed my heart so much since then. He's changed my perspective on myself, what it means to be a man of God, what it means to be a son, you know, what friendships look like, what family looks like, what marriage looks like. All these things have changed. God just completely just changed my life the moment that I decided to say yes.